This story starts like a school drama and ends like the apocalypse. School bullying, a Yakuza father, a homegirl streamer, ancient demons. What's going on? Turns out the quiet loser everyone overlooked is secretly the only person in the world who already hit max level. He just wanted to clear dungeons alone and avoid people forever. But one accidental stream exposed everything. Now the whole world is watching, and the deeper they look, the weirder it gets. The story begins on the bottom floor of the Void Dungeon, where a huge black dragon was located. MC looked at this monster with a calm expression and said that it was clear that it was a bloody dragon with 5 heads. He jumped with incredible speed to one of the monster's heads and cut off its tongue with a dagger strike. The dragon became angry because of this, turned to him and began to attack with fire breath. He dodged this attack and struck him hard with the dagger again, causing it to start roaring loudly. He landed on the ground after that and said that he was too loud. He was a dragon. Where was his pride? Because of this, his hearing was damaged. He created several magic circles, used the black hole zone spell, and it began to suck in the dragon. He killed this monster and thought that this should be enough. A system window appeared in front of him, showing that Umo Rei, 17 years old, level 9,999, attack power, physical defense, magical power and defense, and agility were 99,999 points. He was overjoyed by this and wondered if he had finally reached the maximum level. It had taken him so many years he hadn't even had time to sleep. He searched for the best hunting spots, collected materials to improve his equipment. He played more than any other game. His attention was drawn to the items left behind by the monster. He saw a system window with many items and said with a smile that he had received a blood dragon's eye, a rare thing. He was very lucky. I wonder what kind of reward he would get? He thought about how dungeons appeared all over the world 50 years ago. There was a huge panic back then, but now people have gotten used to coexisting with it. People have magic and the skills to challenge dungeons. Dungeons contain the rarest resources, which is why every country supports explorers. Exploration is a dangerous but extremely exciting pursuit. For a gamer like him, this is the perfect option. He's been to all sorts of formulas and social networks, but he's never seen anyone with the maximum level. He's reached the limit. What awaits him next? The system notified him that the reward for reaching the maximum level was learning additional skills. From now on, he can no longer level up, but when the experience bar is full, he'll be able to learn additional skills. He's acquired an additional skill. Teleportation is now available. He read this and thought that teleportation is interesting. He should try it right away. However, he wants to sleep since he's been busy since early morning. He has to go to school again tomorrow. The next day, he arrived at school, but a classmate bumped into him in class. A guy named Onizuka, with a displeased look, said that he needed money and that he should give him 10,000. The protagonist thought that he was being bullied at school. He raised his voice and said that he had to give him the money quickly or he would kill him. He remained silent, gave him the money and thought, I wonder how he would react if he started to resist. Money is not a problem. After all, he saved up enough over all this time. Honestly, dungeons are still useless. He took the money from him, grinned, hit him with his fist, and loudly said that he helped him a lot. He fell to the ground from this blow, and he said with a smirk that he should be glad that they are not in a dungeon now. In a dungeon, he would be lying with a hole in his stomach. The other students laughed, looking at him, and asked how much money he gave him anyway. After all, it was his parents' money. This guy was unlucky. Next time, he will take even more from him. He calmly thought that monster attacks are more painful. The guy called Onizuka and said that he saw that he was on the stream with Koreas yesterday. He turned to him with a smile and asked, has he been discovered? That's right. He was offered a partnership. He listened to them and thought that dungeon streams were a popular topic in general. Naturally, there are popular influencers who have their own fans. The student asked, by the way, he's reached level 30, right? He laughed, agreed, and said that he has the King of Fists skill. He's bound to become a star. They earned 50,000 on the stream yesterday. That's cool. It's all thanks to him, but he doesn't mind. The MC started to get back on his feet and thought that he could also earn income from viewers. He could make good money if he hunted S-rank monsters. It's better to test his new skills after class. After some time, he came to the Void Dungeon, the very bottom floor, and the system notified that useful skills, all fire, water, ice, earth wind, darkness, and light magic. Available additional skills, teleportation. He read this and thought the title was self-explanatory, but he'd like to try it out first. He heard a loud scream, started looking around, and wondered who was there. He used the detection skill and thought there was someone there and 3 monsters nearby, but that was quite far. He considered this an ideal situation and activated the teleportation skill. At the same time, the girl was streaming and thought she'd take down 1 ogre and that would be it. She encountered several strong monsters and wondered why things turned out this way. One of them grabbed her, lifted her off the ground, and she thought that was it. This was the end. At that very moment, he teleported to that place, attacked one of the monsters, and thought he had no choice. Immediately after that, he attacked the ogre, holding the girl in the head with great speed. He started to fall down and let go of the girl, She also started to fall to the ground, but Ray quickly descended and caught her. He looked at her and asked if she was okay. She looked at him with embarrassment and agreed. He put her down on the ground and said that she should wait here for a bit. A huge monster approached him, swinging its club, and he activated the teleportation skill to dodge the blow. He found this skill convenient, after which he attacked 2 ogres with incredible speed, quickly defeating them, which greatly surprised the stream viewers. He thought with a calm expression that this was too easy compared to the blood dragon. He looked at the girl and thought that he had just taken a closer look, and realized that this was the very same popular Julia. He had heard of her at school, but he never thought he would meet her in the dungeon. He needed to leave before this all turned into a problematic situation. He turned away, opened the system window, and said that he was glad that she was safe. She shouldn't get in such trouble anymore. She loudly asked him to wait and thought that she was a world-class player and level 80. But he so easily defeated those whom she could not. Who is he? She looked at his system window, saw the level, was very surprised by this, and wondered what kind of monster is this. The next morning, he woke up in his house and thought that he could not get a good night's sleep, because too much happened yesterday. Earlier, Julia loudly called him and said that before he left, she would like to ask him to state his name. He refused, which surprised her very much, and she asked why he refused. He said that if he gave his name to a celebrity like her, he would get in a lot of trouble. She came closer and loudly said that then he should at least say his initials. He reluctantly agreed, gave the wrong initials, but she immediately realized that he was lying. He denied it, began to leave, and she loudly said that he should at least take his things. He gave it up, and now he was walking down the street and thought that he had acted a little rudely, but he certainly didn't want to imagine it. Someone behind him screamed loudly, grabbed him by the collar and threw him into a dark alley. He turned around. Onizuka, along with several guys, was looking at him, called him a freak, and said that he irritated him more and more every day. The protagonist thought that it was him again, but now also along with several people. What did they want from him? He said with a displeased look that he knew everything. Everyone was saying that he helped his Julia. He was very surprised by what he heard and thought that he knew that he should have just left. Still, she realized who he was. He swung his fist and loudly asked, "He's a damn weakling. He dares to bother her?" He hit him hard in the face and loudly said that a loner like him could not defeat such a monster. He thought he was stupid for getting jealous, but he had an idea and said he was right. It wasn't him. He laughed out loud and said that's what he thought. He continued to punch him in the face with a wide grin, and he thought that it was actually even convenient that he could just blame it on rumors. He just had to endure his blows and it would end. He stopped because Yulia came to them and asked what he was doing. She took off her mask and asked in a serious tone, what was even going on here? MC was surprised when he saw her and wondered why she was here. She asked with a serious expression, she will repeat again, what is he doing with her darling? Onizuka was surprised by the way she called him and asked what she meant. She said with a serious expression that she had asked the question first. He was confused by this, agreed, and asked, are they making fun of him here? He noticed that he was scared and thought that somehow everything had turned out that it needed to stop. He called out loudly to her, asked her to stop, and said that he was fine and that she shouldn't worry about it. She blushed and said that he was so kind. He asked with a confused expression, what does this have to do with anything? He thought that if this continued, they would start beating him even more severely every day. Onizuka said loudly that this idiot couldn't help her, that this was nonsense. She sighed with a displeased expression, called him disgusting, and said that she didn't want to hear anything from him. They decided to attack one in a crowd. They are not even worth a finger at him. He got rid of those monsters so calmly and did not even blink an eye. It is like he is always bored, that cold look of his. He is so cool. She calmed down, looked at him and said that, to put it simply, he is not trash like him. He was indignant because of this and asked loudly, no matter how you look at it, he is much more attractive than this idiot, isn't he? He couldn't defeat a high-level monster. Right, they had a collaboration. She saw that his level is higher than his. She turned away from him and said that it was useless to talk to him. Ray looked at her and thought, will everything be okay with her? He wouldn't raise his hand to a girl, would he? The level effect only applies in dungeons if he says too much. She called him an idiot and said that she is not interested in guys who are not even fit to be trash. He should never cross her path again. Onizuka grabbed her by the shoulder, loudly insulted her, and told her to shut up. Because of this, he immediately walked up to them and grabbed his arm and told him that he should stop. He immediately punched him and loudly told him that he shouldn't interfere. He took this blow and asked, is that all he can do? He apologizes, but now he will not hold back. He delivered a strong punch and everyone was surprised because he was thrown hard to the side. He turned around and said that the next one can try to attack. The guys got angry because of this, ran to him to start a fight and loudly asked, he hit him and thinks he's become a hero? Who does he even think he is? He hit the guy who ran up to him in the head and with a calm expression said that they can only open their mouths Maybe they will stop embarrassing themselves? The remaining guys got even more angry about this and tried to attack him all at once, but he easily defeated them all. Onizuka stood up, loudly insulted him, and said that he would not forgive him. He pulled out a knife, which worried Julius. He smirked and loudly asked if he knew that his brother was a bandit. He wouldn't get away with it. The protagonist looked at him with a calm expression and asked what was wrong with that. He was embarrassed by this and loudly said that he had explained his brother was a bandit. He said that he didn't understand. He just pulled out a knife. How does that have anything to do with his brother being a bandit? Is he stupid? He should go to elementary school again. He clearly didn't learn something there. He got even more angry about this, ran towards him, tried to stab him with a knife, but Julius easily dodged, grabbed his arm, and knocked him to the ground. He pulled his hand, causing him to feel intense pain and loudly asking him to let go. He was slightly surprised by this and said that he had been in pain all this time too. However, had he listened to what he was saying? Now he wanted him to obediently fold his hands? He looked at Yuli with a frightened look, called her, and asked for help. She seriously showed him the phone screen and said that she was streaming his shame to the whole world. This was not a situation where he could ask someone for help. This made him even more worried, and he said that all this time he had simply been too lazy to resist. He had never been an opponent for him. He asked him in a worried tone to stop, but he did not listen to him. Broke his arm, and he lost consciousness because of it. She approached him and worriedly asked if he was so strong. Then why hadn't he taken revenge on him all this time? He turned to her and said with a calm expression that the most important thing for him was to enjoy the simple life. Later, they were sitting together in the park. She put a bandage on his face and asked if he really didn't feel any pain. After all, there wasn't a single uninjured spot on him. He asked if it could really hurt from his blows. He thought that he was hoping that he could fade into the shadows if he simply decided that it was a lie. But she came and ruined everything. He asked if he could find out how she knew his name. She happily said that he didn't need to worry. She already knew everything about him. He sighed with displeasure and said that she also meddled where she wasn't wanted. She said that after all, he protected her in the dungeon. She couldn't just pass by. He thought that in the dungeon there was an S-rank researcher, but in real life she was an ordinary girl. What comes between the victim and 4 healthy guys? She was abnormal. He asked why she even needed a mediocre high school student like him. She was surprised and said loudly that he couldn't be mediocre because he defeated the death ogre with 1 blow. She came to repay him. Then she couldn't thank him properly. He said that he didn't really care. She said with a displeased look that he was so cold. Could he please call her by her name? Her name is Miyamoto Karen. He considered this better than her nickname, called her, and said that this repaid her debt. She said in a cheerful tone that then she would also call him by just his name. He said with a small smile that, in short, they were even. She asked if he was sure he wanted to leave like this. He turned to her and she said that she had useful information that only she knew. He said in a calm tone that he was not interested. She said, orichalcum slime, which caught his attention, and he thought it was a huge monster that gave a lot of experience. But because of its defense and speed, it was quite difficult to kill. The materials from it allow you to make some of the best equipment. Even he has few resources from this monster. It is a valuable monster and he didn't want anyone else to know about it. She happily said that there are quite a lot of them in the Western Sakura dungeon now. This is useful information, right? So she suggests going together after class. He thanked her for the information, said goodbye, and she happily said how his cold personality makes him cool. After some time, the protagonist came to the Western Sakura dungeon and thought that he was already at the maximum level, but the equipment could still be improved. He opened the door to the dungeon and looked inside with a calm expression. He entered there, met Karen, and she said that it looks like they are not the only ones so smart. He looked at her with slight displeasure and thought that in the end she went with him. The lowest level of this dungeon is the 50th. The orichalcum slime should be there, but it would take a very long time to get down there the usual way. She called him and said in a worried tone that they should hurry, otherwise they wouldn't get any. He said in a calm tone that there was no need for that, she should take his hand. She blushed because he took her hand, and he used the teleportation skill. They ended up on the top floor, and she asked loudly in a surprised tone, how did he do it? He said that he had the teleportation skill. He looked to the side, noticed the orichalcum slimes. She was surprised by their number, and said loudly that if everything was done correctly, they could kill 10. He said in a serious tone that this was not enough. 1,000 were needed. He threw daggers at the monsters, bounced off one of them, and dealt a few more powerful blows. He began creating magic circles and fire magic, a burning zone. She watched this from the side with a shocked look, and he turned to her and asked why she was standing there. Not going to fight? She said in a surprised tone that he was too tough, and magical attacks were ineffective against these monsters. He agreed and said that usually they have such high resistance that they wouldn't even be able to scratch them. However, He was at the maximum level, so it didn't matter. They should move on. She agreed and thought that she knew he was much stronger than everyone she had met. Now she was convinced of it. She, too, must become stronger and become a worthy girlfriend for him. After that, they met another group of monsters and he attacked them with his magic, but the survivors began to try to escape. Karen, looking happy, said that he could rely on her. She used water magic, absolute zero, and froze those slimes. He was a little surprised by this and said that he didn't think she could handle it. She said with a happy smile that it was no easy task to have so many subscribers. They continued to fight against monsters, and when they ran out, she sighed and said that was it. She was so tired. She opened the system window, was very surprised by what she heard, and said that she was already level 150. For an S-rank researcher, level 120 is already high. It's all thanks to him. MC asked what she was even talking about. They were here thanks to her information. She shook her head in embarrassment in refusal and said that it was all thanks to him. She was very happy to have met him. He, with a confused look, said that she liked to exaggerate. A system window appeared next to him, which said that a new additional skill had been acquired, reflecting magical attacks. He was happy to see it and thought it was a new additional skill. He can reflect magical attacks back at the enemy, right? Or is it something else? He should try that in the next fight. This is already his second additional skill, and it was worth killing several hundred orichalcum slimes for this. However, this is what interests him most. He looked at the system window, which said that he had 17 orichalcum slime gems. He thought that in the dungeon, when he defeated a monster, he got a material from them. Gems dropped especially rarely. He was very lucky to get 17 of them. The system window said that the magic sword of Armageddon required 100 blood dragon eyes, 100 death mage staves, 100 orichalcum slime gems, and 1 unknown material. He looked at this and thought that he would finally be able to create the weapon for which he had saved up 100 of the rarest materials, but he still hadn't found the very last material. Also, what the hell is Armageddon? One thing was clear. He would find this rare material no matter what. He heard a loud scream, turned around and asked what happened. Karen said loudly that the reward was 60 million gold. She earned 60 million yen? Is that even normal? He agreed and said that she could keep it for herself. She said that, however, it was he who killed most of the monsters. He said that he had already said that he was here thanks to her information, so this was her half. She was very happy about this. Several seekers came to them, looked around and said that everyone here was also dead. Strange. They should have been the first. Who could have done such a thing? Even S-rank researchers can kill one slime in 20 minutes at most. They hid behind a rock. Ray looked at them and thought that things were bad. Other researchers arrived. He took her hand and said that it was time for them to leave here. He used teleportation. The researcher looked there. His comrade noticed it and asked what was wrong with him. They went on and he said that nothing. He just imagined it. The next day, he was very surprised when he saw a lot of news about someone mass killing all the orichalcum slimes. He put his phone down, took a deep breath, and said that this was very bad. He received a notification. He looked at his phone and noticed that Onizuka had written him a message. Maybe they should see if he was who he said he was? He had to come to the Sky Dungeon tomorrow at 10 p.m. This time he would kill him. He read it and thought, by the way, those guys who came with him, they haven't come to school since those events. Karen was streaming how he attacked him with a knife. The police haven't intervened yet. He thought they locked him up. Strangely enough, there was no news about it. Was he really telling the truth about his brother? She called him over, and asked if he had received a message from Onizuka too. He agreed with it, and asked if he had written to her too. She agreed and said that he wrote to come to the Sky Dungeon tomorrow. He wants her to turn on the live broadcast. He called her and said that she didn't have to come. It would be better if she stayed at home. Most likely, it would have to do with bandits. She was an ordinary high school girl outside the dungeons, after all. She could leave everything to him and not interfere. She asked with a worried look. However, wouldn't he be in danger? He defeated him and those guys, but now he would have to deal with the bandits. He said in a calm tone that he would be fine. In short, she should just leave everything to him and stay at home. She loudly asked him to wait and said that she loved him. If he suddenly disappeared, then she understands perfectly well that he is very straightforward, but he cares about other people. Otherwise, she would not have taken the risk when he saved her, because he could have simply not interfered and then remained unknown. If he hadn't helped then, she would no longer be in this world. So she asks to be allowed to protect him. She's still behind him in strength, but she can spread the word through her stream. Even if he forbids it, she'll still go there. She already knows the place. He was a little surprised by this, but still agreed and said that then in the dungeon she shouldn't go far from him. She agreed, and he ended the call and said with a small smile that she was a strange girl. The next day, at the appointed time in the Sky Dungeon, the protagonist stood in front of Onizuka, who looked at him with a self-confident smile. He grinned and asked if he really came, then which of them was the stupid one? He asked with a calm expression, had his shoulder been healed yet? He agreed and said that he wasn't an ordinary person like him. He had a doctor who couldn't be found in a regular hospital. He said that it was clear it was the shadow doctor. He calmly turned around, called Yulia, and asked if she was ready to start the stream. Karen agreed, started the stream, and said everything was working. He called her over with a grin and said that now she would see that he was stronger than this jerk. He would show her something interesting. He concentrated concentrated a very strong energy around himself and said loudly that he had been training even while recovering from his injury and was now level 50. He looked at it and thought it was a lie. Even if he found the perfect place to farm, he wouldn't be able to raise 20 levels in that amount of time. Besides, with his injury, he wouldn't be able to fight monsters, so he became stronger for another reason. He said that it was clear that he had used a lot of experience juice. He thought this juice was a very valuable thing that gave a lot of experience if you drank it. At a low level, you can raise many levels like this. It's an extremely rare thing and practically impossible to obtain. Onizuka began to draw his black sword and he loudly asked, "Now is he afraid?" He got into a fighting stance and said loudly in a serious tone that he could try to attack. He looked at him with a serious expression and said that all he could do was pretend to be cool. He had an idea. He smirked and said that he would fight with one finger, but if he broke this rule, then he won. He got very angry because of this and loudly asked, "Is he kidding? Okay, so be it. He will kill him quickly." He jumped towards him, swung his sword, and loudly wished him death. At the last moment, MC dodged his blow, stopped behind him and asked where he was looking. He struck with one finger and it was so powerful that it knocked him to the ground. He turned to him, loudly insulted him, and he, with a calm expression on his face, beckoned him to him with a gesture. He became very angry about this, jumped towards him, and loudly told him that he shouldn't be so arrogant. In response, he stabbed him with his finger and broke his sword before he could finish his strike. He told his shocked opponent that with such a powerful attack, he wouldn't even be able to scratch him. This only made him even more angry, and he began to loudly insult him, took out another sword, and began to strike him repeatedly. He calmly parried all his strikes with his finger. The blade broke, and he said that the weapon was useless. Onizuka fell to his knees, unable to believe it, and he said that he couldn't defeat him with such attacks. He smirked and created many magic circles and said that he was very sorry, but he let his guard down. He leveled up and learned new magic. He launched many fireballs at him and loudly said that he had a talent for magic all along. He can create fireballs en masse. If he were to come under so many attacks, even he wouldn't be able to withstand them. There was a powerful explosion, but suddenly all the fireballs flew back, and he said with a smile that he too had a talent for magic. All those attacks hit him. He was badly hurt, and with a disgruntled look, he said he wouldn't forgive him. Karen jumped from a height, called out to him joyfully, and said that it was all over. The stream had gone well too. She praised him, and Ray stared at him because he was laughing suspiciously. He turned sharply to her, called her Yulia, and warned her of danger. At that moment, a multitude of missiles flew at them, but he ran to her, picked her up, and jumped aside. The spectators were shocked by what was happening, and Onizuka loudly said that they would both die. She called his name with a worried look, and he said that everything was fine. He suggested hiding outside the dungeon. They ran out of the dungeon. He put her on the ground and asked if she was okay. She agreed. Several bandits approached them and said that they were late. They were waiting for him. He looked at them with a calm expression and said that it was clear that the duel was just a decoy. The real murder would happen here. The bandit laughed and said that he was right. For a guy, he understood everything pretty quickly. He thought they had seen him kill the death ogre with one blow and realized they couldn't win in the dungeon, so they deliberately lured him outside the dungeon. The bandit loudly said that this was an order from his brother. He shouldn't be angry with them. A man came out of the dungeon, walked towards them, and said that Onizuka was alive. The bandit said that although he didn't think it was worth going so far, since he was still very young, it was already a matter of reputation. He should accept it and die. Karen, looking worried, called out to him loudly and said that things were bad. He should leave her and run. The protagonist didn't listen to her and asked if they were ready to put their lives on the line. One of the bandits came out to him, laughed loudly, and asked if he was pretending to be tough in front of a girl. Not bad for his age, but it wouldn't help him. They would both go to the other world. He dealt a strong blow with the bat, but he easily caught it with one hand. The bandit was surprised by what happened, and he said that he would repeat his question. He broke the bat with the same hand and asked if they were ready to put their lives on the line. He grabbed him by the throat, lifted him off the ground, and asked if they thought they could defeat him outside the dungeon. Stinking bandits like them could only dream of that. He delivered a very strong punch to his face and threw him aside several meters. The other bandits were surprised by this and loudly asked, what was that? However, he was definitely outside the dungeon. Maybe he had some kind of skill that worked even outside the dungeon? He remembered how, as a child, his father called him and said that he should listen to him carefully. He would teach him how to fight. He had excellent genetics. He would be able to surpass him. He refused with a worried look and said that he didn't like this kind of thing. He just wanted to be friends with his friends. He patted him on the head and said that he knew that he was a good boy. But the son of the head of the Yakuza was unlikely to have such a luxurious life. He asked him for forgiveness, and in the present, he thought that he just wanted to live in peace like everyone else. He just wanted to have fun like everyone else. He went to the bandits and said that they should listen to him carefully. He will fight to protect her. If even a hair falls from her head, he will cast them into the depths of hell, and they will regret it. Most of the bandits were scared, but one of them asked loudly, were they scared of an ordinary guy? It was obvious that he was just pretending. They should not be afraid. because their opponent was an ordinary guy. They all ran towards him, swung their weapons. MC clenched his hand into a fist and defeated several bandits with a few quick punches. They became very worried about this and asked why the guy outside the dungeon was so strong. Karen looked at him in surprise and wondered who he even was. He took out a knife and said that now it would be a real fight. Maybe they would change their minds before it was too late. The bandits got angry because of this and loudly asked what he just said. What kind of real fight was he even talking about? Did he do his homework today? He said in a calm tone that compared to monsters, they were no danger. They should think for themselves. They were losing to an ordinary schoolboy. They could be considered children. They got very angry because of this and loudly said that they should not listen to him. They would take the girl with them later. He ran towards them very quickly and delivered many quick blows to immobilize them. When he defeated them all, they said that he couldn't believe it. How could they lose to an ordinary schoolboy? He approached one of them and said that they simply didn't take into account important facts. How are they covering for Onizuka? Do they have a powerful ally? Or are they in cahoots with some politician? The bandit turned away and said he didn't know, and even if he knew, he wouldn't tell. Because of this answer, he grabbed him by the hair, slammed his face hard on the floor, and said that when he asks questions, he has to answer. He doesn't only have the strength of a child, but a brain too? He started laughing and said that now he's had enough. Brother Haba will come for him. It's all over for him. This name caught his attention, and the bandit said that this brother is very strong. He can start praying. At that moment, Ray noticed a flying knife, jumped aside, grabbed Karen, and loudly said that she should be careful. An armed man quickly ran toward him and said that he was moving well. He pulled out a knife that was stuck in the ground, turned around sharply, and blocked the man's blow. He looked at him and thought, so this is him? He noticed a scar on his face and was surprised by it. They jumped away from each other and he calmly said that he was as strong as always. He remembered seeing him as a child, called him by name, and said that his face was still frightening. She was very surprised by his words and loudly asked, did he know him? He agreed and said that he raised him as a father. He was very surprised when he remembered him, called him sir, and asked why he was here. He looked at the bandits lying on the ground, was about to say something, but he agreed and said that they started the fight first. Will he get rid of them? Haba, with a very displeased look, turned to them and loudly asked, were they fighting with him? What are they even doing? Did they want to die? The wounded bandit asked in a very frightened voice what he meant. He loudly called them brainless idiots and said that this young man was the son of the boss Kamisuyama, a quiet butcher. The bandits were shocked by what they heard, and the protagonist thought that it seemed like the problem was solved. Everything would be fine now. He said that, just in case, she shouldn't go far. You never know what might happen. Karen nodded in agreement, and he noticed that she was shaking and thought it was no wonder she was scared. He asked what was going on. Were they paying bribes to get Onizuka acquitted? Haba denied it and said that it was a gang under their wing. They don't take part in their affairs. He took a deep breath and said that he knew it. He doubted that he would have gone along with that. However, why would politicians agree to such a thing? Onizuka is an internet star now. He said that they were surprised too. He doesn't want to say it, but they basically have internal problems. They can't even predict what will happen next. He thought with a thoughtful expression that this was strange. One of the most powerful criminal organizations in Japan. They could not make such a mistake. He bowed, loudly apologized to the master, and said that it was his mistake. He asked to be forgiven for this. He said with a slightly dissatisfied look that he could forget about it. They just need to stop supporting Onizuka. One thought irritated him. Haba looked at him and said that, of course, this will not happen again. As an apology, he can also offer information about a rare item in the dungeon, which the dungeon management department is hiding. He should have enough strength to get it. MC thought, was he in collusion with the government? He clearly used experience juice. It is quite possible that the dungeon management department was involved in all of this. He said that he did not need these shadow items. He said that he should think again. He is sure that he will like it. He asked, by the way, how was his father? Was he healthy? He agreed and said that, moreover, when he watched the video of his and Onizuka's fight, he constantly cheered for him. He took a deep breath and said that he hadn't changed at all. He again thought about the past and thought that his father always adored him. However, he never gave his subordinates a break. He spoiled him a lot. That's why he doesn't think he would order his death. He said that they had problems within the organization. Are there really some conflicts within there? He called the master and said that he would send him information about a rare item a little later. He also heard that Onizuka stole 500,000 from him. They will make him and his brother return the money in double amount. He said it was fine. They shouldn't waste their energy. More importantly, they broke all her streaming equipment. They should get new ones by tomorrow. Haba bowed and said he would do as he wished. He could leave the rest to them as well. He agreed and said he was counting on them. After that, they walked through the forest. He looked at Karen with a little concern and thought she was kind of quiet. He looked away and thought that he couldn't do anything. The person she was chasing turned out to be connected to a criminal organization. This is a common reaction. He remembered how, as a child, one of the boys asked him for forgiveness and said that his mother told him not to play with him. He was confused by this and loudly asked why, if they hadn't even finished the game. They went home, and he loudly said that they wouldn't succeed. He asked them to wait, ran after them, and thought that it was always like this. Those who were friends with him yesterday ran away from him the next day. He tripped, fell to the ground, started crying, and asked where he went wrong. People knew that he was the son of a Yakuza, and told their children not to associate with him. He remembered the past and thought that this is why he was so attached to an ordinary life. He didn't communicate with people, ran away into the world of games, and then went headlong into dungeons. His origin, this is his curse. An empty life, avoiding other people. He apologized and asked, was she scared? Right? Now, she should have realized that he is not the person for her. This time everything ended well, but next time it might not be like that. So it's better for them to go their separate ways. If she is with him, nothing good will come of it. He thought that somewhere deep down he knows that he will not have an ordinary life, but he still wants to find it. MC woke up and said he was still tired from yesterday. He looked at his phone and saw a message. The message apologized for taking so long, but they had resolved the issue with Onizuka. They asked him to take a look. Ray thoughtfully read the comments and said that Haba had taken the matter seriously. He wrote to Haba that he had watched the news and that it was excellent work. Haba replied with gratitude and said that they had also prepared new equipment for Yuli. How would they deliver it? MC remembered how he had told Karen that she should break off all relations with him. Nothing good awaited her with him. Karen had replied negatively and said that nothing of the sort. Ray looked at her and asked, what is she saying? If she stays close to him, she won't run out of problems. Karen looked at him and asked, had he already forgotten? She loved him. She already had a hunch. When Onizuka said it was his brother's, he didn't even flinch. And he wasn't afraid when a knife was pointed at him. Honestly, she wasn't even surprised. He only became cooler in her eyes. MC told her that she should listen to him. At that moment, Karen said that's why he shouldn't close himself off. She hugged him tightly and said that she knew he was a very kind person. She was head over heels in love with him, and she understood that he thought she was a fool, but she asked him to let her be near him. Ray thought that she was a very strange girl after all. Everyone was avoiding him, and she, on the contrary, was trying to get closer. Even now, she still wanted to be near him, but what if everything he wanted as a child, and everything he still wants now, she could give it to him? MC smiled and looked at his phone. He said that she was really strange after all. Ray told Haba that he should send it to him. Haba told him he would do as he wished. School. The MC was walking down the school hallway, and at that moment, one of the students apologized to him and asked if he was bothering him. He'd go away now. After that, another student bowed to him and wished him a good day. The second student cleared the way for him and said he could pass. Ray looked at this and thought that everyone had changed their attitude. Had they seen him on the stream? At that moment, a student ran up to the MC and said that he should let her thank him. She had been bullied too, but thanks to him, she was finally free. Ray asked her in surprise, had she been bullied? He thought that was right. Onizuka hadn't just poisoned him, he was harassing the whole school. The MC told her that he didn't need thanks. He hadn't done anything. The student wanted to object to him, but Ray told her that she was now free from the pressure of stupid people, and that from now on, she could live as she wanted. The student happily answered positively. MC said goodbye to her and began to leave. The student sheepishly but sincerely thanked him. Ray left the school and said that in the end, all day long he had received nothing but attention. But what about his simple life? Then MC sighed heavily when a luxury car pulled up to him. A girl got out of the car and said that she had been waiting for him. Ray was surprised and asked, why wait? The girl said that she had come from his father. He had ordered them to draw attention to them specifically so that other students would know their place. MC was surprised and thought that he was a fool. What kind of senseless act was this? At that moment, he heard the students whispering. One student asked if this was by any chance his lover. Another student answered that the car was also very expensive. After all, he lived in a completely different world. Ray was upset, thinking that his simple life was over. After that, he asked, what about the rare item that Haba spoke of? The girl said with a smile that she would tell him everything. It was worth all those cars. After MC got into the car, he said they could go. The girl answered positively. Ray thought Haba was an idiot. The basement of the building. Haba asked MC if he was angry. Ray answered positively and asked if he was ready to accept his anger. He grabbed Haba by the clothes and said that he wanted a simple, ordinary life. They had ruined his whole plan. Haba replied that he understood. He was truly sorry. So, they needed to discuss this difficult topic. MC was still fuming and told him that he could already tell. Haba said that the thing was that the deputy general manager of the dungeon management department wanted to meet with him. Ray asked in surprise, what? Haba said that he understood. He had also told him about it. The MC said he was categorically against it. Haba said he had insisted on meeting him, but after seeing him kill the image of death with one blow, he was sure he would be useful. Anyway, he'll be here soon. Ray exhaled heavily and thought that, considering he was only saying this now, it must be very important for the organization. After that, the MC told him that since he'd gone along with it, it was very important. Haba responded positively with a smile and said he was sure they could find common ground and be useful to each other. After this, the deputy approached the door and opening it said, now it is clear to him he is Rei. Ijima said that, seeing his look, he found it hard to believe he was a high school student. The deputy director of the dungeon management department. He said he was pleased to meet him. He was Ijima. Rei thought he was the top man of the dungeon management department. He greeted him and said it was a great honor for him. They shook hands, and Ijima laughed and said that he had very good manners, but he wasn't that important. After that, Ijima told his assistant to give him this. Ijima gave it to MC. Rei apologized and said that he didn't have his business card yet. Ijima laughed and said that it wasn't a business card, but a number in case he wanted to avoid a police investigation. MC asked, surprised, what? Ijima said that he was quite an influential person, since he was the son of the boss of the organization, and given his position, he could very well get into a difficult situation. He had no doubt that he could avoid trouble by any means necessary, but it was better if he gave it to him, since their country could be sensitive to such incidents. When the police came for him, he should call this number. Rei looked at it and thought that it was unlikely that such a thing would be given to high school students for nothing. MC told him that if he was giving him something like that, it meant he wanted something from him. Ijima looked at him in surprise and then chuckled. He said that this skill was worth a lot, so he should be careful with it. He was a quick learner. After that, Ijima turned to Haba and said that he should get it. Haba responded positively and told Rei that he should take a look at it. MC looked at the stone in his hands and asked what it was. Haba replied that it was that rare item. Rei looked at it in confusion and said that it was an ordinary stone. Ijima said that it was only at first glance. He knew that you can't use dungeon abilities in the real world, right? MC responded positively and said that you can't view the stats, nor can you use the item. Therefore, they can't use this stone here, right? To do that, they would first need to teleport to the dungeon. Ijima said that his thinking was correct, but there was one exception, and that was this item. After that, Rei looked at the stone in surprise. The next moment, the stone rose into the air and began emitting light. MC wondered what it was. After a while, a passage to another world appeared next to them using a stone. Rei looked at it in surprise and asked, is this really the item? Ijima answered yes. After that, an information window appeared. Level up, Rei, 17 years old. Level 9999. MC looked at it happily and thought, is this what he thinks it is? Ijima said that this item creates a dungeon space around it, allowing you to use stats, skills, and items outside the dungeon. Does he like that? Rei answered yes. Ijima said he was glad to hear it. MC thought that before, his abilities only worked within dungeons. Acquired additional skills, teleportation is now available. Rei thought, now with this. After that, he said he was interested. His hands trembled, and he wondered what such power could possibly be in this world. MC wondered if this item could actually use his powers. Rei grinned wildly, and said it was interesting. Ijima said they would now show him another item. Then a large book appeared above them. Ijima said it was a level 1 taming book, which would allow him to acquire new skills and tame monsters. MC asked, surprised, what? He thought he'd only recently been able to acquire additional skills. But could he also get that with items? Would this allow him to tame monsters? It was a common mechanic in games, but he'd never heard of exploring or dungeons being used to fight monsters. Ijima said there was more. The Phoenix Feather allows you to resurrect after taking fatal damage in a dungeon. Resurrection items are rare, and he's sure he'll find it useful. Rei thought this was some kind of cheat. Ijima said they prepared other powerful items for him, and he could choose whichever he liked best. MC thought for a moment, then replied that he'd made up his mind. He'd take the taming book. Ijima, surprised, asked him if he was sure. They hadn't really learned the taming skill yet. Rei replied that he wasn't opposed. Previously unknown skills are a real thrill for gamers. Ijima smiled and said they'd offered obviously powerful items, but he'd chosen one he hadn't yet learned. He really was an unusual high school student. So, would he tell him his level? Haba said he'd always known he was strong, but he'd never asked. MC's expression changed and he said he would tell them, but if they told anyone about this, he would kill them. Haba winced and answered positively. Rei said, here are his stats. After this, Ijima and Haba were very surprised. Ijima asked what this was. Haba said that this couldn't be. 99999. How was that even possible? MC covered his ears and thought they were very loud. Ijima said that it was amazing. He had never seen such a thing. Rei asked Ijima if he could ask a question. It was about the Apocalypse Sword. Had he ever heard of such a weapon? It appeared in his crafting menu, but he couldn't find any other information about it anywhere. Ijima asked, the Apocalypse Sword? Rei said that he was going to craft it. He had collected almost all the materials, but he still hadn't found one. Blood Dragon's Eyes, Death Mage's Staff, Divine Green Dragon's Scales, and an Orichalcum Slime Gem. He might have information unknown to ordinary people, so he wanted to ask him. He had collected all the other materials, but there was one he still didn't know. Ijima replied that he understood and wanted to help, but he'd never heard of such a thing, and he didn't even know the name of the weapon. After that, he apologized to MC. Rei was upset and said he didn't need to apologize. He thought even Ijima didn't know. Ijima said he'd recently received an interesting report. Sometimes new items are born in dungeons that aren't actually items at first, but are born from people's thoughts. It's extremely rare, but when such things appear, they become treasures. MC asked in surprise. What? Ijima said that even they don't know everything about dungeons, but if something new appears, they should do everything they can to learn more, right? Rei thought it was a unique item. At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and the assistant apologized and said he had another meeting scheduled. Ijima said that was true. Was it already that late? He then told MC that since they had entrusted him with rare items, he had a favor to ask. Sometime later, Rei was strolling through the city at night. He said that these rare items were from Ijima, and he hoped they wouldn't get him into any serious trouble. At that moment, Karen was following MC. Rei noticed her and asked, "Have you seriously been following him all this time?" Karen jumped in surprise and awkwardly said that this was a very unexpected meeting. She just decided to take a walk in the evening. After that, MC said that it didn't matter, it was her new equipment. He handed her a package and said that if there were any problems with the account, she could tell him later. Karen hugged the package and thanked him. She joyfully and shyly sang that it was a package from Rei with his scent. The MC asked her why she sang that. Was she normal? After that, Karen told him that he should listen to her. Rei asked her what? She said, was he really in trouble again? The MC didn't answer. Karen said that he didn't have to hide it from her. She was talking to Haba in the organization. After that, Rei said that there were indeed problems there, but he wasn't part of the organization, so he wasn't going to interfere. He didn't have time to finish because Karen grabbed his hand and said that then he should use her channel. Wouldn't it be cool if they filmed the dark side of life? The MC wanted to object, but she said that everything was decided. Rei covered his face with his hand and wondered if she had even listened to him. Karen, meanwhile, was walking along and joyfully singing that this was the dark side. She would film the dark side. At that moment, MC remembered her words, that she was head over heels in love with him, and that she understood that he thought she was a fool, but she asked him to let her be near him. Rei wondered if his origins should have scared her too. She was still clinging to him as before. MC called her a weirdo. He thought that some kind of feeling was beginning to emerge in his heart. But what was it? At the very least, he clearly wouldn't be able to escape from her. After that, Rei asked her to let him go. She said no. At that moment, the news was showing on the screen. Breaking news. Suspicious characters had appeared in Kasumigaseka, Tokyo, and people should report anyone with empty eyes. The next day at school, MC greeted a classmate at the gate and wished him good morning. The classmate responded in kind. Then Rei felt someone calling him. It was Ijima. The MC asked, "Is this Ijima?" Then he thought, is he calling at this hour? People around him were chatting actively, and he thought, he can't answer him with so many people around. At that moment, a warning was heard everywhere. This is not a drill. There is a risk of attack in this area. Everyone must evacuate to a safe place immediately. Then it was repeated again. Everyone must evacuate to a safe place immediately. Then someone in the crowd asked, what kind of attack? Is this a siren? Isn't that the kind of alarm they only use in case of a national emergency? They should run. After that, the MC ran after everyone and said, is this really it? The school security guard shouted that the children needed to run to school quickly. Rei called Ijima. Ijima told him that he was glad he had reached him. The MC asked him, what's going on? Ijima said that he would answer him now. The situation was dire. He would speak briefly and to the point. They were attacked. It was the Dungeon Investigation Agency. He remembers what he told them about, right? Rei answered affirmatively and said he told him about that gang. MC remembered what Ijima had told him about the gang attacking him, and it was most likely the Dungeon Investigation Agency pulling the strings behind the scenes. Rei asked who. He replied that gathering information on monsters, mapping Japan's dungeons, and conducting communications within the darkened world was all handled by an organization called the Dungeon Investigation Agency. MC asked if that agency had orchestrated this entire incident. Ijima answered affirmatively and said they couldn't be sure yet. Rei asked, but wasn't that gang led by Onizuka's brother? Haba replied negatively and said his intervention alone wouldn't have been enough, which was why they were surprised Ijima was being protected by someone from the government. From what he'd managed to find out, it seemed like there was a dungeon investigation agency here. Ijima said the possibility was too high. When they first dealt with the gang, they were able to find substances on them. MC asked in surprise, substances and stimulants too? Ijima replied that they didn't know that yet, but they were almost certain that the source of the substances was the Underground Investigation Agency. They were most likely using these gangs as test subjects. Rei didn't respond. Then Ijima told him that, in general, it was a big problem, and he believed he could be the one to solve it. MC, hiding behind a car, asked him if they really thought they'd attack like that, directly. Ijima hurriedly got ready and told him that several of their employees had been attacked by people from the Dungeon Investigation Agency. They hadn't been able to contact them since yesterday. Rei asked him in surprise, what? Ijima replied that they had broken the law, attacked them. The Underground Investigation Agency was clearly up to no good, and perhaps they were hiding something from them in the dungeons. MC asked him, in the dungeons? So that's it. At that moment, Rei noticed from the side a police officer, lifting a high school girl up by the throat. MC wondered if they were the police. The girl was struggling and screaming for help. At that moment, the police officer with white eyes turned to Ray and said that MC had been spotted. Ray then saw several more police officers with white eyes and wondered, where did these monsters come from? MC wondered, what's going on? Where did these monsters come from? At that moment, he again noticed how the girl was almost completely exhausted. He cursed silently and then ran to save her. However, at that moment, Ray was attacked by revolver shots. MC dodged deftly and said he needed to get some sleep. Then he punched him hard in the face. Ray then pulled out a gun and pointed it at the policeman. He said he should let her go. The next moment, MC shot him in the arm. After that, Ray shouted at the girl that she should quickly run to school. She tearfully answered him positively and thanked him. After she ran away, MC reloaded the revolver and said that he hoped they were ready. He had decided to kill them, so they should be ready to die. The policeman tried to say something, but Ray, with a wild look, said, "Do they think some police force is his rival?" At that moment, bandits on motorcycles appeared behind the policeman. They also had white eyes. MC wondered, are they bandits? Was it the Kamisuyama organization or someone else? He asked them, have they all decided to attack him in a crowd? Is the dungeon investigation agency that eager to get rid of him? And at that moment, Ray carefully examined the bandits and the police. The bandits, with a mad smile, said that MC was found. Then they laughed madly and said that they needed to kill him. Ray pointed his gun at them and thought, there are too many of them, armed police and bandits. If he were in the dungeon, he could handle them. Was it possible to defeat so many alone? What should he do? At that moment, all the students got on their bicycles and rode in a crowd straight towards the zombies, screaming. At that moment, a high school girl shouted to the others that they should show them the strength of their high school. The next moment, MC asked, what? The high school girl happily called out to Ray. He asked her why she came back. The high school boy replied that they came to help him. He should let them help him. They will cover his back. MC shouted at him that they were fools. They should run. Who was he talking to? This enemy is too tough for them. The boys replied that they knew this, but they couldn't just watch anymore. He had to let them fight. They didn't care even if they got hurt. He'd been taking the hit all this time. They couldn't let him fight for them alone, so he had to let them fight. This time, they would be the ones protecting him. Ray was touched by their words. He remembered being told as a child that he felt like he was from a Yakuza family. How awful. They should stay away from him. After that, the MC lowered his head and said that they were idiots. They shouldn't let themselves be killed. After that, the high school students began fighting the police and the white-eyed thugs. At that moment, a student stood off to the side with a phone in her hand and said that Ray had freed them all from bullying. His feat would be broadcast nationwide. The police wouldn't help them, but he was there. On the broadcast, everyone supported the high school students and the MC. Ray thought, these monsters, they get back on their feet almost immediately. Is this the effect of that substance? But they have no chance of winning. After that, MC shouted to the upperclassmen that he would distract them, and they should hit as soon as they had the opportunity. The boys answered positively. Ray said that there were 5 policemen on the right, 4 bandits on the left. MC was standing between them and thought that they should attack him. At that moment, Ray flew up and thought that this was excellent. He shouted to his friends that they should act now. At that moment, several school children attacked the policemen and bandits. One upperclassman said that they were monsters. They should not have underestimated Gogetsu in high school. He should get for this. After MC ran up to them, he asked, did they win? The boy answered positively and said that most likely. At that moment, Ray said, it's true. They won. At that moment, everyone started celebrating the victory. He was really cool. He knocked out those idiots with one punch. He is very good. It was an amazing strategy. At that moment, Ray looked away. A classmate asked him, what is he doing? He had such a stern expression on his face. The MC told them that they had to run to school right now. He couldn't protect them this time. A classmate asked him what he was talking about. At that moment, Ray saw more police officers with white eyes approaching the MC and saying that Ray had been found. The MC said that this was no longer a game. They had to run right now. The boys objected and asked if he was going to fight alone. Ray answered positively and said that they had helped him a lot, but the enemy was only targeting him. The seniors were outraged. They said that he should let them help, at least a little. The MC turned to them and answered negatively. He said that they would die. At that moment, a car drove up to them. Ray thought, is it a car? Really? At that moment, the car stopped near the MC. Haba rolled down the window and said that heroes always arrive late. Then he apologized to Ray for having to wait for him. MC told him with a smile that he was late. Haba said that he didn't want his identity revealed, so he couldn't help him personally, but he was there to give him the opportunity to spread his wings. At that moment, he pulled out the very same stone from his pocket. Ray looked at it and said, that's it. Haba handed it to him and said that with this, he could defeat 10,000 police officers alone. He should show them what he's made of. MC chuckled and said that he was very good. Ray took the stone and began to use it. After that, MC apologized to the monsters for keeping them waiting and said that they would start the second round. Then he began attacking them with magic and said that they should have it. After that, he called them idiots and dealt him a powerful blow. His classmates stood there and were very shocked by this, but Haba Haba, who was sitting in the car, simply watched calmly. During the students' broadcast, people in the comments were writing that they were very surprised. Where did such power come from? What was that? The student asked. What was that? MC's classmates were also shocked, saying, how is that even possible? He'd only seen things like that in manga. After a while, Ray saw that some people were still standing and asked, are there any more? It seems that they were given an unusual substance. At that moment, one of the police officers fired a revolver several times, and the bullets flew straight at MC's classmates. Ray quickly and sharply blocked them with a barrier. The classmates were shocked and a little confused. They asked, did the bullets disappear? It seemed like MC had blocked them somehow. Ray told the zombies that he was their enemy. They shouldn't involve others in this. It was time for him to end this. After that, he dealt them a powerful blow. He used high-level earth magic, a massive tremor. The powerful blow defeated all the zombies. MC said the cleanup was over and they were safe for the time being. One of his classmates said it was really cool. He really was cool. How did he do that? What a shockwave. That definitely wasn't an attack from a normal person. Ray thought he couldn't tell them he'd used dungeon stats. At that moment, Haba leaned out the window and told MC that Ijima was calling them. Ray apologized to his classmates and said he needed to get going, thinking there wouldn't be any problems here without him. A classmate asked him if he should continue. By the way, who was that man in the rabbit mask? MC turned around and with a subtle smile replied that there were a lot of people in the world, and it was better for them to mind their own business. At that moment, one of his classmates responded positively and said, if that's what he said, then. Ray got into the car and said goodbye. He told you that next time they shouldn't get involved in something like this again. Did they understand? At that moment, the classmates exchanged glances and then stood at attention. MC asked them, what are they doing? Do they think they're military? He replied that nothing of the sort, but lately the quiet butcher has become a hot topic on the internet. He looks a lot like him. Ray asked, surprised, what? The classmate replied that that's why they decided to send him off Yakuza style. He said that he's their leader, which means he's their boss. MC asked thoughtfully, boss? The upperclassmen wished the hero luck and said that they don't understand what's going on, but they'll wait for his return. Ray looked at them softly and answered affirmatively. He said that he'll be back. After that, Haba moved. MC asked him where they were going next. Haba replied that they were going to Kasumigaseki. Ray asked him again. Haba answered positively and said that according to Ijima, there was a government dungeon there. MC asked, a government dungeon? He'd never been there. Haba said that secret items could be found there, and that monsters were so dangerous that these dungeons were sealed, top secret places. Ray said he couldn't believe it. They really existed. Haba said that these dungeons were truly dangerous and it would be better to seal them, so he completely agreed and supported Ijima. MC answered positively and said that there would be no end to trouble if he did. Then Ray remembered Karen and told Haba that they urgently needed to go to Karen's house. She never left his side. They could go after her. Haba replied that he understood and abruptly turned the car in the other direction. At that moment, Karen was fighting zombie police at home. Karen asked them, who are they? They needed to move away. She was calling the police. At that moment, MC arrived and hit the police. He asked her if she was okay. Karen called him tearfully and hugged him very tightly. She said that she had been very scared. Ray hugged her and said that everything was okay now. At that moment, he noticed someone pointing a gun at him and said that she needed to be careful. MC thought it was a submachine gun. Karen said that it was. Ray interrupted her and said that they would talk later. They needed to get to the car. Karen answered positively. After they got in the car, MC told Haba to drive as fast as he could. In the car, Karen asked him if he was attacked by the police and bandits. Ray answered positively and said that it looked like they wanted to get rid of him. Karen said that she didn't even know it was so serious. At that moment, Haba said that they had arrived. The National Diet Building. Ijima saw them and said that they had arrived safe and sound. Haba said that now MC had a chance. Ray immediately asked him where the National Dungeon was. Ijima said that it was right in front of their noses. At that moment, he took out a stone and with it, a large door appeared. Karen and MC were very surprised. Haba calmly said that it was the National Dungeon. At that moment, Ray felt pain and cried out. Karen asked him in fear, what was he doing? Haba asked him if he was okay. MC thought what happened. It was as if he saw something for just a moment. Ijima asked him if he was okay. Ray replied that everything was fine, he should continue. Ijima said something strange had happened inside the dungeon before the police went wild, as he'd been informed. That is, the dungeon had suddenly started emitting a strange miasma, and immediately afterward the bandits had gone crazy too. Haba asked him what. In other words, the miasma from the dungeon had triggered all this. Ijima replied that that was probably how it worked. But usually, when something like this happened, they simply closed the gates. But now something had gone wrong. MC thought he'd figured it out. He'd been summoned here to solve the problem with the government dungeon. They believed he was the only one who could solve it, since he'd recently revealed to Ijima that he was at max level. Ijima asked him to save them from this disaster. Ray responded affirmatively and said he had conditions. Ijima asked him what those conditions were. MC replied that he wouldn't go into the dungeon alone. Karen would go with him. Ijima laughed, then responded positively and said he'd let him. Ray thought that was great. Saving the world was a role for a champion of justice. After all, he was born the son of the head of a criminal organization. He'd be fine with just living the life of an ordinary schoolboy. But when he saw his classmates who rushed to his aid despite the danger, monster, and Karen, who understood perfectly well who he was, still didn't abandon him. Now, he had a reason to fight. He'd have to give it his all. After that, he said with a smile that they should go to unknown lands. When they passed through the doors, they saw many blocks floating in the air. Karen asked, "What is this?" Haba asked, "Is this a dungeon?" MC said, "The blocks move on their own. They need to move on that." Haba said he'd never seen anything like that. Karen looked down and said the jumping distance was quite long, but what was down there? At that moment, she looked down and saw that the ground was invisible. Then she screamed and got scared. Ray thought he had teleportation. Ijima said that as they could see, the inside was already very different from ordinary dungeons. The appearance of this dungeon was enough to declare it dangerous and seal it. MC thought that the structure itself was different from ordinary dungeons, so naturally, the loot here would be unique. Ijima said that when they first opened this dungeon, their employees were able to recognize its name, like the Rendia's dungeon. Right, I think so. After hearing the name, Ray felt sick again. He winced in pain and thought, this is happening again. Why? He was here for the first time. Did this name really sound familiar? Haba approached him and said, "Is he okay? He should see a doctor." MC replied that everything was fine, they didn't need to worry about it. Rendia's dungeon. How did they even know its name? Ijima said that their staff found a stone tablet with an inscription, but they eventually lost contact with them. Ray wondered what awaited them inside this dungeon, and why his body was reacting so strangely. After that, he straightened up and said that they needed to go. He would try to protect them all, but they should be careful. They didn't know what awaited them. Everyone else simultaneously answered positively. After some time, everyone fought the monster in the dungeon together. While they were fighting the monster, MC called out to Karen. Karen said that it wouldn't escape. Then she used ice magic. She shouted at Haba that he had to act now. Haba replied that he understood, and then struck the wolf. After that, Haba called out to Ray. Then MC dealt the finishing blow and said that it had to die. Haba asked, did they win? Ray answered positively and said it was a monster he hadn't encountered in other dungeons. At that moment, something dripped on Karen, and she asked if it was rain. After that, she looked up and said she felt dizzy. MC thought it was some kind of debuff. Could it really be that? Then he looked up and saw a witch. He asked, is it a witch this time? After the witch started attacking him, he ran away and thought, oh shit, the debuff slowed him down. Ray ran as fast as he could. At that moment, Haba and Ijima called out to MC. At that moment, she laughed out loud. Haba cursed at her. The witch looked at him and started to attack him. But at that moment, Ray got ahead of her and struck her. An additional skill was activated. MC said that she was caught, reflecting magical attacks. Karen ran up to him and said that was a powerful attack. Haba asked him if he was okay. Ijima said that if he were in his place, he would have died long ago. Ray said that they were levels 30 and 40. They couldn't let their guard down. They were almost to the boss. Ijima told him that he should be careful. Karen said that he shouldn't worry. She is level 150. She would protect everyone. MC smiled and said that he had a very reliable party. After that, they stood in front of another large door. Ray thought, what's the matter? He was seeing this door for the first time, but why did he have this feeling of deja vu? After they opened the door, they saw a dark silhouette ahead. Fegnia laughed and said that they had finally arrived. The second demon god, Fegnia Huguenot. MC looked at him in surprise and asked, what is he? He is very disgusting. Fegnia laughed and said, why is he doing this to him? He is offended. They are his comrades, aren't they? After that, he called him Rendias. Ray asked him in surprise, what? What nonsense? What was he talking about? However, MC didn't have time to finish as he felt pain again and fell down. Haba asked him if something hurt again. Ray wondered what these memories were. They weren't his, were they? After that, MC loudly asked, what does this all mean? Karen told him that he needs to pull himself together. Haba asked Fegnia what he did to him. Fegnia continued to laugh and said that it was supposed to be like that. He needs to remember. Hadn't he noticed something was wrong himself? He didn't care how much time he spent in the dungeon. He was still leveling up just at a normal speed. Even though he spent so much time in the dungeons, wasn't he recovering too quickly from the constant beatings? Ray raised his head and asked him what he wanted to say. Fegnia quickly and abruptly appeared next to MC. He raised his head and said that the answer was simple. He was an unusual person. He is the fourth demon god, Rendia Zoroaga. He is a great demon god like him. He must destroy this world as ordered. At that moment, Ray seemed to be out of his mind. Karen tried to attack Fegnia at that moment and told him that he shouldn't say such things. MC is Ray, and it doesn't matter what he says. Haba said MC is the son of the Kamishiyama boss and has no connection to him. Fegnia laughed and said they can think whatever they want, but what's the truth? Karen asked him what? Fegnia addressed Ray and called him Rendias. He asked him, he must have seen it, right? The sword that will destroy this world, the sword of the apocalypse. After that, Fegnia used magic. Karen asked what it was. The magic that Fegnia used gradually covered MC's eyes completely. A voice appeared in Ray's head, telling him he must kill. He must destroy the world. They were born to destroy this world. MC grabbed his head and screamed. Karen asked him, what's wrong with him? Tears streamed from Ray's eyes, and he thought the sphere was filling his body with negative emotions. So much anger, sadness, resentment. He remembered Ijima's words about how objects that previously wouldn't exist are sometimes born in dungeons. They're born from people's thoughts. and such things can all become potential treasures. MC wondered if the final material to complete the Apocalypse Sword was really a resentment. Then something began to happen to Ray. His eyes turned black, and the tears didn't stop flowing. Something lifted MC up, and a black light sparkled around him. Karen and Haba tried to call him. Ray shouted at them that they had to run. He couldn't. Watching all this, Fegnia said that the time had finally come. At that moment, MC transformed into some kind of monster with several snakes. Fegnia said that he would be able to complete the Apocalypse Sword. He was the demon god Rendia's. Haba stood and watched in shock. Karen said nothing, covering her mouth with her hand. Fegnia said that this world was taking its last breath. Karen thought she would never forget this day. Haba asked, "What is this?" Karen asked. She can't believe her eyes. What is she looking at? Ray, in his monster form, said that he needed to destroy humans. Haba turned to Fegnia and asked what he had done with MC. Fegnia replied with a smile that they had heard everything themselves. He had simply returned the fourth demon god, Rendias, to his true form. Haba asked him, "What?" Fegnia said that from the very beginning, he hated humans more than anyone else. He hated humans who were always willing to sacrifice others for their own well-being. They were demons. They were born and beaten down by their kind. He hated humans. He wished he could destroy all of humanity. That was his true desire, and it would be the final material for the Sword of Apocalypse. Karen thought it was the Apocalypse Sword. Ray had mentioned it once, but she'd never heard of such a sword before and couldn't find any information online. Karen said that in other words, this sword appeared in the MC system in order to restore Rendias's memories. Fegnia laughed and said that monsters usually can't leave the dungeon, but what if one of the demons takes the form of a human? What does she think will happen? Karen realized something and asked, "Really?" Fegnia shouted that she was right. Rendias would be able to get out of the dungeons and destroy pathetic humans. Haba called him a bastard. Ijima said that his subordinates suffered because of him. Fegnia answered positively and said that he decided to use them for their own good. They were supposed to bring Rendias to him. Karen thought that the gangs, the police, and the dungeon investigation agency, it was all a farce to return Ray to his original form. MC told them that they should run. At that moment, everyone turned to him. Ray said that he was no longer the man they knew. Karen, with tears in her eyes, asked him if he was still out there somewhere. He said that she should stop. They should run from here. At that moment, Fegnia asked him if he seemed a bit boring. Had he really developed sympathy for people? MC said that she should run. Karen trembled, and then tears began to flow from her eyes. She lowered her head and said that he shouldn't talk nonsense. Should she wait for the end of the world? Should she look at him like this? Ijima called out to her, worried. Haba told her she shouldn't come any closer. It was dangerous. Karen replied that she didn't care. She didn't care what he said. She said she was willing to follow him to the ends of the earth. So just because he turned into a monster, he shouldn't give up on him. At that moment, Haba said that was well said. After that, he turned to Ray and said that he had watched his growth since childhood, so he was willing to risk everything to return him to normal. If he didn't, how would he look Boss Kamisuyama in the eye? Ijima adjusted his glasses and said, wow, he was the one who brought him to this dungeon, and he didn't want MC to return home like this. As the top man in their department, he would protect them all seriously. At that moment, Ray called out to them, and then something started happening to him. He started changing form. Haba and Ijima called out to him. Karen looked at it and thought, what is this? A sword being created from the black mist? It's the Sword of Apocalypse. Fegna, with a mad grin, said that this was how it should be. He must unleash more of his power. He must punish these ignorant fools. At that moment, MC, as if insane, said that he must kill people. He grabbed the sword and roared. Haba said that they should be careful. They should stand behind him. He then used a magic shield. But Fegnia broke his shield with one blow. When he struck the shield, it slightly injured Haba. At that moment, Ijima thought he had an opening. He then aimed his weapon at the monster and fired. However, Fegnia stopped the bullet with one hand. He shouted that it was impossible. After all, he had used such a powerful item. The next moment, Fegnia attacked them. After a powerful explosion and the smoke cleared, they stood protected. Ijima thanked Karen for this. She asked them if they were all safe. Haba looked at her and said that was to be expected. Ray was very strong. Ijima said that now was not the time to praise him. The difference in strength was too great. Karen resolutely said that she still would not give up. Haba and Ijima simultaneously asked what. Karen said that she did not want to give up. Her kind MC would remain in this form forever at this rate. She did not want that. After that, she rushed forward. She ran straight at the monster and shouted that he had to give her Ray. She remembered how MC told her that now she realized that he was not the right person for her. That was the end of it. But next time it might not be like that. So he had to go his separate ways. If she was with him, nothing good would come of it. She thought that this couldn't be. She would not let him carry everything alone. After that, Ray, in his demon form, grabbed her with his hand. Haba and Ijima were scared for her and called out to her. Fegnia laughed and said it was pointless. Everything was pointless. He said they hated humans. Karen looked at the MC and said she didn't care if she died, but he had to come back to them. Fegnia laughed and said it was very touching. After that, Ray threw Karen against the wall. Begnia said they should give up already. Their MC was no longer here. After the dust cloud cleared, Karen was found alive. With her last bit of strength, she said she wouldn't give up. She had promised him. She remembered Ray telling her everything would be okay. After that, she said she would protect him this time. She took out her phone where the broadcast was playing. She asked the viewers to help her. In the comments, people wrote, "What is this monster? What is this? Is she in trouble? Where is the MC? Where did he go?" Vegnia looked at this and wondered, what is she trying to achieve? Karen told the viewers that they must listen to everyone. Ray had been turned into a monster by evil emotions. They must convey their feelings to him. They must help him regain his memories. At that moment, the viewers in the comments agreed with her. It was their turn to help him. Someone in the comments wrote that they didn't know how deep the hurt was, but they had to help him. There were 200,000 viewers here. They would dispel his hurt. At that moment, the MC said they had to stop. Viewers started donating several thousand yen and writing that Ray should fight. They believe in him. Karen mentally pleaded with the MC. With the viewers' help, a white light appeared from the phone. Karen thought that Ray had to hear them. He had to come back to them. At that moment, the white light completely covered the MC.